Alright, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to go through the Alt F4 League race from this week. As you might imagine, we raced the F4 car. This week it's at Long Beach. It's a great group of people. If you're looking for an F4 league that has American-friendly start times, I would highly recommend checking this out. You can find it actually at sundaynightskippy.com, which will redirect you to our Discord. The F4 League is a subset of people that run the Skippy League, which runs on Sunday nights. So if you're looking for a Skippy League, check that out too. So the way this works is we have a 10-minute heat race followed by a 40-minute feature race. Typically we have a pit stop in the 40-minute feature race, but it wasn't configured the right way, so we're just going to have one hell of a long 40-minute just insanity at Long Beach in the feature race. So we'll check out the heat race first. I qualified third. There's 23 cars in the field. I definitely felt out of place. I do not think I should have been third. There's some extremely fast people in this group, in this league, and then there's people like me. So no matter your skill level, there's definitely somebody to race. So let's see, Leo and Jeffrey. Both these guys are just extraordinarily fast. They're going to be 1 and 2 pretty much every time in qualifying, and the rest of us are kind of fighting for third. For me, I'm generally more of like a top 10 guy, so I definitely overachieved a little bit here in qualifying. So let's see how this heat race goes. All right, got a nice little start. Really, at this point, trying to do everything not to run into these two. Sounds simple. Don't want to ruin their race. If you've done any pubs this week, you know that turn 1 is just chaos. Thankfully, a lot of respectable drivers in this league. Not really going to be quite like that, at least at turn 1, lap 1. So, got a good getaway. Field starts to kind of single file a little bit behind us, which is nice. And at this point, I'm really just thinking race clean, run some clean laps, settle in. I have absolutely no expectation to stay anywhere near Leo or Decker. These guys are quite literally from another planet. So again, my goal is to put in some clean laps. I'd like to finish somewhere in like the top 5 is kind of the mentality I have going into this in the heat to prepare myself for the feature and give myself an opportunity. Truly, my expectations in these races, I'm really gunning for top 10s. Like that is to me, that is success. So I know I say that and I qualified third, but truly I felt very much like I overachieved. The qualifying laps were just super tight. I think there were 5 or 6 of us within thousandths of a second, maybe 100th and a half across maybe 5 or 6 guys. So just kind of worked out. Had 2 really solid qualifying laps, and just kind of worked out. So really at this point, quite honestly, I'm still surprised as I'm driving. I'm still surprised that I'm within reach of these two. I'm truly just trying to stay in the draft, just trying to run some clean laps, warm the tires up a little bit, and just kind of settle in. Heat race only being 10 minutes, it does go by extremely quickly, which I like. It really does feel like a sprint race, you know, the Formula 1 sense of the word. It's just super fun. I think it's a good addition. Last season we ran a 15-minute sprint race. 10 minutes, I mean, we're talking about a 5-minute difference, but it really does make all the difference. That corner right there, turn 9, really, as you'll see throughout the heat and the feature, had my number the entire race, and has really had my number the entire week. I've struggled with that corner. This is definitely some of the first laps I've had where I'm coming into that corner with draft and with some extra speed, and really finding a breaking point for corner 9 is just not something I did very well. Let's just say that. So seeing these two guys kind of duke it out a little bit, as you can see, kind of rattled me a touch, almost met my fate at turn 1. Thankfully, I was able to get the car slowed down enough. But yeah, these guys battling a little bit gives me an opportunity to kind of stay in their draft. I do know, little birdie told me that my buddy Leo probably took somewhere in the neighborhood of like I don't know, 3 times as much fuel as he needed for this 10-minute sprint race. So I know that wasn't helping him. I don't know about Decker, but I'm still truly in this moment. I'm shocked that I'm within really any range of these guys whatsoever. Some super quick guys behind me. Adam Wright, Mazda. Those guys super fast, as you'll see here in a second. They'll be on me in no time. So again, just trying to run some consistent laps, some clean laps, trying not to push it too hard. Don't really want to make any silly mistakes. The heat race does count for points to some degree, but you know, where you're really getting after it is the feature race. So would like to keep it clean, get to the feature, really be cool to start in the top 5, and just give myself an opportunity. I'd love to finish top 10 again, that's my goal, but you know, like I said, I kind of felt like I overachieved in qualifying, and I'll take it, right? Like if I could get a top 5 in a feature, I would be thrilled. So at this point, again, just really trying to be smooth. I think so far I've done a pretty good job with that. I made a couple little mistakes, but to be within a second or so of the guys in front of me, I'm doing something right, so I'll take that. A little bit of a mistake there, nothing too crazy. They start obviously capitalize a little bit on that, break away a touch. Definitely get a feel at this point. You know, Adam's caught up. Adam's right behind me at this point. Again, he's a super quick dude, but also very patient, very clean driver. I know he's not going to do anything crazy, but at the same time, I'm feeling the pressure. And I feel every time I go into T9, it's always a little bit different. That instance right there definitely pushed it a little too much, got too close to the wall. Adam was definitely in a position to strike. I think very patiently of him, he waited right there, which was good. Which was good idea. Of course, now he's gonna be in my slipstream, and 1 and 2 have definitely checked out. These guys are second and a half or so down the track. Adam looks to the inside here, going into turn 1. Doesn't quite have the overlap, but I give him space, knowing that he's frankly faster than me. I don't really want to fight him too much. It would have been smart on my part to give him more space, I think, and just frankly let him go. He clearly got a little bit loose there at the exit of turn 1 and couldn't quite make the overtake, and now at this point everybody behind us is kind of bunched up. I couldn't do so much there. I was kind of thinking about that as we were going through this lap. I would have liked to have just let him go by me, but just kind of didn't work out that way. And so at this point I'm really feeling the pressure. I've got a couple guys, basically there's 3 of us within about a second at this point. Going into this heat race, seeing my qualifying position, I was definitely not super comfortable. So I'm feeling the pressure. You can see it again, turn 9 that time, had some corrections to make. Just not feeling that corner. Again, coming out of the final corner, another big correction. So you can kind of understand where my mental state is. I'm pretty nervous at this point. I've made some silly mistakes, pushing the car a little too hard. Tires are probably a little overheated at this point, and I try not to make any mistakes for myself. I don't want to fall back. I also don't want to ruin anybody's heat race. So again, trying to like slow my inputs a little bit as best I can, back off just a little bit, even though as I kind of brush the wall right there coming out of that corner. Really just trying to do anything I can to bring those tires back into line. Again, super close to the wall, but that was less me pushing, more minimal inputs. Really trying to not destroy the tires, not overheat them, and make a really bad mistake. Again, that's a great example of it as well. Really trying to get into that corner a little bit more patiently. So again, as we come up down to turn 9, just push it a little too hard. And yeah, that's all she wrote. Unfortunately, spun. I've got my finger on the tow button at that point. Made some contact with Adam. Unfortunately, he also had to tow. You can't see in this view, but he's missing his right front tire. I'm definitely, there's a couple 4-letter words coming out of my mouth in this moment in time. Certainly not pleased with myself. Just a silly mistake. Yeah, I think we've all been there. I felt like, again, I overachieved in qualifying. I was in a position I wasn't comfortable with. Still being new to VR, being around people that closely is definitely nerve-wracking, and I was feeling that throughout that entire heat race, especially the last couple laps when Adam and Mazza and guys like that were kind of catching me up, and Leo and Decker had checked themselves out. So made a mistake. It's really easy to make that one, I think, but kind of in hindsight, being able to look back at it now, it's one of those situations where I need to be able to make that adjustment better. I think even after I reached out to Adam after the feature race was over and apologized to him, he's like, yeah, I should have sent it on you a little bit earlier. I saw that you were kind of going too deep in that corner multiple times in a row, and then being able to watch it back like this now, it is interesting to be able to see that. But it is something that I need to be able to identify as the race is going and make that adjustment, because that's just something I can't do. It's a pretty stupid mistake, quite honestly. So yeah. So yeah, at this point we're sitting down at 14th. Still probably pretty flustered. It was nice to have a little bit of time there for the tow, just to kind of like collect my thoughts, pump the brakes a little bit, leave four-letter word territory behind, and just focus on, let's just finish this heat race. Let's get to the feature. Obviously, the feature at this point is going to be extremely challenging because we're talking about a potential top 5 start in the feature. Now we're looking at like a top 15 start in the feature at a track that is pretty difficult to overtake on, and yeah, so not super thrilled, but just trying to make the best of it at this point. I also kind of have in my mind that I was hoping that Adam would be a touch closer at this point. I'm not sure exactly what happened. He's about 5 seconds back, but I was kind of hoping that he would be close and I could at least give him the spot, if nothing else. But he was pretty far off at this point. Must have had something. Maybe didn't get the fast repair. I don't know. Something must have happened there, because he would typically be. We came out pretty much together, so he would obviously be right on top of me otherwise. So yeah, just trying to make the most of it. Just trying to get through this, and then compound a couple mistakes, clip a wall a little bit. Sure, at this point, if I was weird VR, you'd see me shaking my head, but just yeah, compounding problems is definitely something I've struggled with in the past. I think I've done a better job of that in recent months, year or so. But it's tough, it's tough in that moment. Kind of see red a little bit towards yourself, towards myself in this case, and just don't want to make the silly mistakes, unless less so about a result for me. I really don't want to ruin anybody else's race more than anything else. Thankfully, Adam was very understanding, and I think he said it best when we chatted after the fact. Shit happens. So that's the end of that heat race. Was able to kind of come away with 14th. Obviously, should have been a lot better than that, but mistakes were made, and now we go on to the feature. Alright, so we're back on the grid in the feature race. We're going to be starting 14th of 23. And kind of the feeling at this point is, what the hell am I going to do to get past all of these cars in front of me? Long Beach is definitely not the easiest place to pass. It's certainly not the most difficult. There are probably, there's some other tracks I can think of that a little bit more difficult, but certainly not the easiest. And really, again, as we saw in the heat race, just trying to put myself in a situation as to not ruin somebody else's race. Adam's back here with me. He's in 15th. As somebody who's just super fast, I know he's probably going to be making his way up to the front pretty quickly, so my goal is to really try to settle in behind him and try to follow him through. Have a nice getaway. Again, saw Adam was kind of coming in also had a great start himself, so I let off a little bit, let him get in front. See if I can just follow my man to the front. Got Brian on the inside here. Everybody leaving each other tons of space. Always great to see. Thankfully, I was able to kind of use the pick there and get past Mr. Peter Lee. Car in the wall. Again, tons of time to be able to see where we needed to go and just kind of put ourselves in the right spot. Got Ray right here in front of us. Ray is super quick. Not sure what happened to him in the heat race, but I think as you'll see, he definitely has a nice feature race here. So the three of us, I think, are in a pretty good spot. Realize that probably have a little bit more speed than a few of the folks in front of us, and want to try to get up to where we think we should be kind of quickly. And I hope that I've learned my lesson in turn 9 from the heat race, and we're going to try to be a little bit smarter about that this time around. A little bit of a correction there, but do have a good draft on Ray here, coming down the front stretch. I'm going to try to make a move. I do think I made a touch of a mistake to pull out quite as early as I did. I was going the long way and didn't have the draft. Thankfully I was able to come alongside, get that pass done going into turn 1. I did leave space. I wasn't sure if he was going to stay there, but he conceded that space. Kind of worked itself out there. Got Melody in front of us at this point. Hoping I can get a nice slipstream coming down into this corner here. I know the next one's probably not a great place to pass, but again, our buddy turn 9 might be the spot, so let's see how we get that done. Adam's definitely started this race in the right on the right foot, and he's ready to rock and roll. So he's way up there. I was able to get through this corner a little bit better than Melody, so I was able to get alongside her and put myself in a great spot going into turn 9. It is interesting though. I remember in this moment I was a touch concerned about trying to make the overtake into turn 9, just based on what happened in the heat race. Stuff kind of sticks with you a little bit. Did give her enough space. I was able to get by. She kind of conceded the position either way. So we made up a couple spots pretty quick in the first 2 laps. Gone from 14th to 9th. And then at this point, you know, just spaced out a little bit, trying to settle in, trying to get ourselves, again, this is a long race. 40 minutes is a long race, especially at a place like Long Beach, where one little mistake and you're touching concrete and having a bad day. There are no fast repairs, so it kind of going into it knew it was going to be a race of attrition, but at the same time, I mean, this isn't a pub. You can't expect everybody to wreck out, so I knew I was going to have to get some work done. Nice little battle here with Tom. But again, I mean, it speaks to league races, especially this league. You're just kind of having an opportunity to race against people and race around people that are going to be respectful and leave each other space. It's, you know, it's pretty awesome. And it's one of those things, again, it's again a 40-minute race. Gotta love that we made the like turn 9, man. Turn 9. I don't know what to say about it anymore. Just again a pretty stupid mistake. Touched the wall. Thankfully there was no steering damage. I think at some point, maybe down the front stretch here, I look, or I guess you're not going to see it because we're not in VR mode, but I look over the front left just to make sure that the wing wasn't completely jacked up, and thankfully that was all good. So Ray capitalized on that opportunity, got in front of me. And you know, mentally at this point I'm thinking, okay, Ray's quick. I know Ray's fast. Let me just kind of get into a rhythm. Let's stick behind him. Let's ride the draft. He'll be making his way up, you know, towards the front as well. Adam is long gone at this point. He's 4.5 seconds ahead. So I'm just thinking, let me stick with Ray. The theme of this race for me is making mistakes and trying to make some corrections. Put myself in a position where I just don't hit that, don't hit the concrete. So as we go through turn 9 here again, I did see there was a caution Caution flag waving. It looks like Adam actually spun in turn 9. I don't know what it is about turn 9 for us, but it wasn't really our corner for the night. So kind of having him in front of me, my first thought was like, I'm going to overtake him, and then I quickly realized, like, no, I'm not going to overtake him. He is faster than me, and I'm going to try to utilize the draft and see if we can catch up with JR and Ray. JR is having himself a pretty awesome race, sitting in 5th place. And so I'm hoping that we can work together and knock this delta down. Sit about 5 seconds behind JR, 3.5 behind Ray. And Adam and I, for quite a few laps, actually work. There's no communication going on here, but I'm not making an effort to overtake. There are opportunities. I definitely get close in certain places. I'm not sure if he was struggling a little bit or not, but there's some opportunities I had, but really trying to think long term. We still have 30 minutes to go in this race. There is no pit stop. Typically there is, actually. I probably should have mentioned that, but the way the session was set up, it's just going to be a full 40-minute race with no pit stop. We have all the fuel we need on board to finish the race. So yeah, I'm really trying to think long term. Pit stops aren't going to be part of the strategy as they normally are. So again, with 30 minutes or so to go, it doesn't benefit me or Adam at all to be fighting for 6th spot with 30 minutes to go. So I try to tuck in, utilize the draft as much as possible, and really work together without communicating or talking about it. Might have been smart to just tell him, hey man, I'm going to tuck in and go, so don't worry about me. And as you'll see, it works out. So we're already down to 4.5 seconds to JR, making some progress. So let's fast forward a little bit and catch up in the action a touch. So we're kind of picking it back up now. Adam's gotten in front of JR going into turn 1, and I really used that opportunity to close the gap to JR. I was about a second and maybe 1.2 seconds or so behind, but the two of them being side by side going into turn 1 allowed me to completely close the gap. So pretty much going to pull right up to JR here and see if we can make an overtake. Really trying to capitalize on the momentum that Adam had in this battle. Thought process here, see if I can get a good exit in this corner and make it happen. JR also had a nice corner, so we're not going to really make any progress right here. You can see I'm being a lot more cautious as I go through turn 9. I found, as I've been racing other people throughout this race, that I was being far too aggressive in turn 9. I don't know why it took a 10-minute heat race and half of the feature race for me to figure that out, but I should have noticed much sooner that I was losing significant time in turn 9 by trying to just push it too hard. So you got a nice run on JR here going into turn 1 in the draft, kind of realizing I'm going to close up, but not enough to actually make a run for it. So I really try to be thoughtful about backing off a little earlier than my typical braking point for these, being so close to someone. Again, you got to remember I'm in VR too, so you definitely get a sense of depth just in this 2D space that we're talking about now, but in VR you really feel that. So trying to be smart, not push it quite to the degree maybe I would if I was by myself. But again, see an opportunity here. See if I can take this corner a little bit better. And yeah, in that case, actually, JR made a little bit of a mistake. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but he definitely just didn't get his exit in that corner. Just wasn't quite what it had been in previous laps. So I almost kind of ran into the back of him there. Thankfully, I was able to pull it to the side, and I think he realized what was going on and said, "Go ahead, buddy, you take it." So at this point, up to 6th. Feeling pretty good. Haven't started to 14th. Quite honestly, if the race ended right now, I would be extremely happy. Again, goal is top 10. So being in 6th place, starting 14th in the feature race, feeling really good about it. Still with that mentality of this is a race of attrition. So trying to stay out of the concrete. That is the goal. Can we stay out of the concrete? 40 minutes. I mean, you can see how close we are to some of these walls. it doesn't take much of a mistake to just completely ruin your day. So I think more of this race is about truly staying within your own, you know, your own limits and being able to actually push the car forward than it is so much racing, you know, the guys around you. So going into turn 1, I got a notification that we've got a caution. It looks like Ray lost it right there in turn 1, which quite honestly is super easy to do. I didn't see his incident exactly, but how many times, you know, for myself, just not quite hitting the braking point just right, or pushing it a touch too much, or maybe not getting enough brake pressure in turn 1 and being able to slow down. Thankfully, it didn't seem like he had damage, or at least not enough that he had to tow. He was able to, you know, keep going, but unfortunate for Ray, went from, you know, P4 down to P7 and about 10 seconds behind me. I was really paying attention to his delta at this point because, again, Ray's quick, and if he didn't have enough damage to tow, you know, with about 15 minutes to go in the race, I'm thinking to myself, he is only 10 seconds behind, and he is fast to the point that I'm super thrilled that I'm in P5 right now, but I definitely did not feel comfortable about finishing P5 if he did not have damage. So I am paying attention to his delta, trying to gauge, does he have damage, does he have wing damage, and as you'll see, he does not. He definitely makes a pretty good run for it as we go through the rest of this race. And so my thought process again at this point is Adams, you know, kind of out of reach. I was doing my best to stick with him, put some pressure on him. He's super quick, doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's one of those guys. So I really just wanted to stay in touch, capitalize if there was a mistake. But I'm looking at P5 with 15 minutes to go, feeling pretty good about that. JR is still about 2.5 to 3 seconds behind. I was really trying to manage that gap as the race went forward. But yeah, feeling pretty good about where I'm sitting at this point. So certainly take this finish. Again, don't want to do anything stupid to find the concrete. And finally learned how to take turn 9 without doing anything incredibly stupid. So progress is being made one lap at a time. So as we're winding the race down here with only a few minutes to go, a couple of things kind of going on. Unfortunately, one of the back markers had an incident, I think it was in turn 1, and took out P3 at the time, Chris Georgiandelis, who was having a phenomenal race. So certainly unfortunate for him. We do find ourselves currently now in P4 as a result. Adam has certainly checked himself out. He's about 8 seconds ahead of us. JR is the person I'm really focused on at this point. JR is just super consistent. You know, he's one of those guys that he's not going to make a lot of mistakes. He's not going to race you super hard for a position. He's going to do it, you know, he's going to race smart. He really has that big picture in mind as he goes through the track. So he was making some time up on me. I think he got down to right about 2 seconds, you know, a few points, maybe like 1.8. I was making a few mistakes, but also trying to kind of keep an eye on the gap. Definitely, you know, at this point we're only, you know, a minute and change away from finishing the race. Didn't really want to make any stupid mistakes. Minding the gap, but just trying to bring it home more or less. Ray currently about 10 seconds behind, but unfortunately for him, you know, he did gain, as we were just talking about. He definitely gained quite a bit. I think he was up to about 7 seconds or so at some point. 7 seconds back from me, but I think again had some issue, whether it was a spin or something. It just kind of was bouncing around between 7 to 13 seconds behind. Currently sitting 10, but again, we're pretty much down to the end here. Really just trying to bring it home and try not to do anything completely stupid. Leo is completely checked out at this point. I don't know exactly what his gap ended up being, but he was somewhere in the neighborhood of like 30 or 40 seconds ahead of second place. So he was definitely rolling. Mazza is going to have himself a great finish here. Adam, you know, pretty happy, quite honestly, that he's going to be finishing on the podium after what happened in our heat race. I'm glad that I didn't cause any massive issues for his league race this week for my mistake here in famous old turn 9. JR is about 3 seconds at this point. I'm just trying to get through some of these corners, just trying not to do anything stupid. it's mentally taxing. You know, it's a 40-minute race between these walls. It's not easy. So we'll cross the line. We'll finish fourth. Have ourselves a nice finish for sure. So I hope you guys enjoyed that race. That was our Alt F4 League race. There was a lot of interesting things that happened there. The heat race was certainly eventful. Thankfully, I learned a little bit as we went through the heat race and into the feature, and was able to figure out turn 9. And thankfully, too, the incident that we had didn't completely ruin Adam's league race, and he was able to finish on the podium. I'll take a P4 every day of the week. This is a quick group of people, and honestly, anytime I can finish in the top 5, I am thrilled. So I'll take it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you like this format, let me know. I love the comments. I love reading what you guys think about what I do, so please let me know what you thought. I'd love to hear your feedback, and again, always looking to just improve the process for you guys. So let me know what you think, and until then, or until next time, I suppose, I will catch you guys later.